The RPM Podcast, starring Eric Brennan.
The tardiness, the sloppiness. My God, you've been coming into work hungover. Look, the truth is, you're nobody's first choice for this job. We're giving you one last chance.
Sam Ballard Jr.
You think I might screw up?
Scott Riggleman.
That's Scott. He's a dick.
Neil Rutt III.
Aren't you legendarily racist?
Nick Rendo.
It needs to be massive and long and wide.
Eric Graham.
I'm too shy to wear a crop top.
And Josh Matthews.
What the hell kind of people do something like this?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 116 of the RPM Podcast. It's Tuesday night, around 9 o'clock. Me and Josh are recording this. Just me and him again tonight. We were promised yesterday by Eric Brennan he was going to be back in action tonight, but and I bought it, man. I buy it every time. I don't know why, but he had me convinced yesterday that he was going to be on tonight. But once again, we are let down by Mr. Eric Brennan.
Because it sounded like he was in a good mood or whatever, so maybe he was like,
good mood.
I don't know why.
I mean, and we didn't ask him. He was telling us, he's like, I'm going to go home, set my equipment up, man. I'm going to be pumped. I'm going to have everything ready. Tuesday night, I'm on. I'm like, I did no show prep because I thought Eric Brennan was going to be taking care of everything.
Yeah, I wasn't sure with Sam either.
Yeah, it was go time, and Eric Brennan, message just got home late, couldn't do it. So
and then,
we miss you again, Eric.
And then as we're like, okay, we're good at this time, or all right, we'll figure this out, and we're pretty much getting ready. Didn't even ask him. We weren't going to harass him or anything like that. He just pops up and says, sorry, guys, I got home super late last night and today. Still haven't gotten to my equipment. I'm sure he's been touching his equipment, but...
He sucks me. He gets me every time, man. I really buy into that he's going to do. He's very convincing. And then
he is. You know what? That explains it. That explains the announcement. It absolutely does. For people that don't know and don't follow Eric on social media, but don't bother.
Congratulations to him and his fiance. They got engaged. I think it was Sunday night. I think they got engaged. Congratulations to them, and good luck to them.
I give it 8 months.
Well, it's been a whopping 4 months, and they're already engaged. So, there's nothing like. He said when he knows, he knows, and he said he knows about this. So.
Yeah, well, he also said he'd be on tonight, so.
Yeah.
we see how he is with commitments.
We love Eric. Maybe next Tuesday. Maybe he can draw us in again over the weekend and promises something and not deliver again. And Sam's hitting the books, man. He's really, I don't know why he's wasting time with that college stuff. He's got a great career with where's he work? Jersey Mike's.
Yeah.
What's wrong with a full-time career at Jersey Mike's? Well, I don't know why he's going to college, but my brother Tim was unable to come down because his wife started a new job and she's working nights, so he couldn't make it tonight. So you guys are stuck with me and Josh. I want to start off real quick. New segment of the RPM Podcast. It works good for the people that watch us on YouTube. The people that listen on SoundCloud, and it might be a little difficult, but we're going to start with a little show and tell. My friend in upstate New York came down to visit me, and he picked up a book at a yard sale. And it's called The History of America's Speedways, Past and Present. And I'll show you. It's a hardcover book. There
you go. Oh, look. Oh, that's beautiful. The History of America's Speedways, Past and Present.
That's from 2003, so it's a little behind. But
it would probably be about half the thickness today, right?
Yeah, right. but no, it wouldn't, because it lists every racetrack from past and present. So it's got every racetrack in it. And I just wanted to read you Wall Stadium. Of course, I went right to that one. I read that one. And here it's called Wall Township Speedway.
Okay.
It says Belmar, third mile paved oval. It opened in May 26 of 1950, and it's still open today, which we're all very happy that it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was we talked about this on a previous show. It was patterned after Lonesdale Sports Arena in Rhode Island. I was always told it was patterned after Westboro too, and that's the track we looked up that night, and it looked identical to Wall Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Also known as Wall Stadium, of course. Frankie Schneider won the first feature race there in 1950. The Jersey Sharks, a pro football team, played in the infield in 1957 and 1958. They ran their first ever NASCAR midget race here on 6/27/1953. They ran a NASCAR Grand National race. A lot of people don't know that. They used to run Grand National races there. And I read a book about Lee Petty. He scored, not Lee Petty, Richard Petty. Richard Petty scored his very first top 10 on the Grand National circuit at Wall Stadium. So they ran
that
NASCAR.
was I was gonna say, and for maybe newer listeners or those who don't know, that eventually became well, for
What's
a
it
long
called?
time, the
Monster Energy Cup, whatever you want to call it.
well, the Busch Series, and then
No, the NASCAR Grand National.
yes, I'm sorry, yeah,
his Cup Series
became the Cup Series.
Yeah, and then when they changed the name of the Grand National to the Cup Series, they named the late model series the Grand National Series.
That's yeah. So it kind of shifted, and then they
shifted. The Grand National name went to the second tier, and then they started the Cup Series. So yeah, the Grand National is what we know as the Monster Energy Cup Series now. They raced there on July 26, 1958, which was won by a man named Jim Reed. I don't know if it's Harry's dad or not, but it's Jim Reed. Pretty cool. You want to shout out another track I can look up real quick? I mean, what's cool about it is how many racetracks there was. I mean, just for example, Josh, right here.
Lonesome Pine Speedway.
Oh, you got to go to a different state. Hold on. Before we get off, now I got to flip to Virginia, right? That's Virginia. But I will look. Just something cool I want to say while we're on the New Jersey stuff is there were so many racetracks. I mean, I do the towing for Dick Barney at Barney Service, and he's been involved in racing from the 50s. And he said there was racetracks everywhere. I mean, there was one on Hope Chapel Road, but they weren't really racetracks. They were basically people racing in gravel pits, and they're, so they were everywhere. So, for example,
there were
here,
the paved ones would stand out a little bit more. There's one. We had Amatol. That was in the Pine Barrens there. I'm just there's a few others there. They mostly have trees growing through them now, but I mean there were a few asphalt ones. But didn't Old Bridge have a big planked track?
A wood track? No, that was Long Branch.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, Old Bridge had a regular half-mile asphalt track.
Okay.
But right one that caught my eye, Toms River Speedway, Toms River, New Jersey, located on Route 37. You know what's funny too when you read these? How short they were open. Like Toms River Speedway, Toms River, New Jersey, located on Route 37. Quarter-mile dirt oval, opened in March 1950, closed October 1950. So they raced there a summer, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Scott, come over to my backfield for,
That's exactly it. And what Dick Barney told me is his father ran the racetrack on Hope Chapel Road. And they raced there for 2 years. And he said one day they were sitting in the office at Barney Service Station, and two state troopers pulled up and came in and said, who runs the racetrack on Hope Chapel Road? And Dick pointed at his father. His father pointed at him. And basically they said, hey, we don't mind you guys racing over there, but you got to get up to code. You have to have a guardrail. You have to have a catch fence. And as soon as they started mandating that stuff, they just closed down because the money wasn't there to put into the facility, Right. If you ever go in the Barney Service Station, right in the office, as soon as you walk in the waiting room, there's pictures of the racetrack, and it's pretty cool, of Hope Chapel Road Speedway. And it's basically just a gravel pit, and they're racing cars, and you can see the people standing on top of the gravel hills watching the races, Yeah. Yeah, it's just pretty cool. So what did you shoot at? Amatol?
No, I was going to say Lonesome Pine Speedway.
Yeah, but before that, I'm still in New Jersey here.
Oh, well, Amatol, Amatol.
Because this book's pretty thick. I mean, there's a lot of tracks. I'll get to New Jersey here.
I think it was named for the explosive or whatever. I mean, it was basically like a part of the base or sort of musician.
That was a board track. It says Amatol board Amatol board track, see Atlantic City Speedway, Hamilton. So it probably started out as Amatol and then switched to Atlantic City. Now I got to look up Atlantic City Speedway.
Scott's busy doing it.
No, it's right here. Atlantic City Speedway. See, there's two of them. There was Atlantic City Speedway in Pleasantville, and then there was Atlantic City Speedway in Hamilton. Atlantic City Speedway in Hamilton was a 1.5-mile wood oval. Wow, that was a big track.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
You can still walk it.
What's that?
You can still walk on it. I mean, the boards are gone, but yeah, it's this big kind of dirt. It's like a squared off. I mean, it's more of a rectangle than an oval.
Okay, yeah, because it says Atlantic City Speedway, but it was in Hamilton, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. It was a 1.5-mile wood oval track. It was opened in May 1st, 1926, and closed 9/16/1928. So it lasted 2 years. It was built by Jack Prince and Art Pillsbury. Turns were banked 45 degrees. That's the cool thing about those old board tracks, man. They had some banking on them, man. The first race was won by Harry Hartz at an average speed of 134 miles an hour. Wow, they were getting around there pretty good.
And yeah, back then too. Holy crap!
The fastest lap on the board track was 147 miles an hour, set by Frank Lockhart in 1927. Ralph Del Palma won a couple of stock car races on 530 1928 in a Mercedes. The track was built on the old site of the Amatol Arsenal where TNT explosives were made. Now, you were right, Josh.
Yep.
For the use by the U.S. government during World War I. Now site of Troop A of the New Jersey State Police on U.S. 13 southeast of U.S. 206. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's at a state trooper barracks now.
Yep.
Pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. You knew that it was
Oh, when you live in the 609, you got to know these things.
Yeah. It's cool. I mean, Bayonne Speedway near Newark Bay, Veterans Stadium, 1/5 mile paved oval. Here you go, May 16th, 1949 to 1950. It lasted a year, you know.
Well, see, my thing is like with the Amatol thing, you said it lasted 2 years. And it was a board track. Think of all the lumber that had to be laid and nailed in, and then for 2 years, and then
they put all that time and money, and in 2 years, it's gone. It's crazy. Let's check out Long Branch because that's the one we were just talking about. I mean, right here, Freehold, half-mile dirt oval, and it's now the horse track. It was from 1927, 1940. They raced cars and horses there. Now they just race horses there. Garfield Stadium, C. Long Branch Speedway. It's so many. Central Jersey Speedway. That's New Egypt Speedway.
wow.
So many racetracks. What were we looking? Here. Yeah, Lakewood Speedway. See Hope Chapel Oval. So now I gotta find Hope Chapel Oval. Right here, Hope Chapel Oval, Lakewood. Dirt Oval, 4/16/1950. to 10/18/1951. So it lasted a year and 6 months. A.K. Hope Road Oval, located in a gravel pit on County Line Road. But it was if you ever are on County Line Road and you're going out towards Jackson, you make the left on Hope Chapel Road. You don't have to go down Hope Chapel Road. There's a little restaurant. It used to be the Pasta House. It's actually closed now. But as soon as you pass that, there's a brand new development there. And there's a boat sitting in this guy's backyard, and that was basically where the racetrack was. Dick Barney took me over there one day, and we walked around a little bit, and you could still see a little bit of stuff left, you know, in the woods.
Yeah.
You know, like fencing and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool that they talked about that.
Wow. That is cool. It's I don't know. I mean, I like hearing about it. It's really cool to know, but it's also so sad that so much has gone away. But at the same time, if you think about, you know, how many cars there are and all these tracks competing, I know that they try to tell you competition's good for business, but at the same time, I think there was an oversaturation of it. So, I mean, it was like you could drive your race car down the street to get to a track, and so how do you pick where you want to race? And I'm not saying that, you know, that I think we should have more than, you know, one oval in New Jersey. I think, you know,
My dad always told me back then, a lot of times it was basically car clubs. Clubs would just have a place to race, you know? So, like, if you belong to the Hope Chapel Oval Car Club, that's where you raced. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah, I got you.
Yeah, they built a track. All right. I think I'm in Virginia now here. So what was it, Lonesome Pine you went to look at?
Yeah.
Which is a cool track. And did you see they're switching to dirt now, Lonesome Pine Speedway?
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, they're laying dirt down for next year. I always went to racetrack that track. It's a pretty cool track. But yeah, they're switching to dirt for next year.
I think part of what stood up, there was a lady that was running. I want to say it was like an enduro or you know, something like a stock, you know, either 4-cylinder or whatever class. Who I believe she had a heart attack during the race and passed away.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember a story like that. So that track is kind of stuck in my mind, not for a necessarily good reason.
You know why it sticks in my mind? You know who used to own it was you know, Morgan McClure Motorsports.
Okay.
That owned the 4 Kodiak car that won the Daytona 500. One of them owned it. I don't know if it was the Morgan guy or the McClure guy, but they owned that track for a while, and their shop was right down the street from there. Yeah, I got it right here. Lonesome Pine International Raceway, Co-Barn, a.k.a. Lonesome Pine Raceway, 3/8 mile paved oval, 1972 to 1976. Then again, so I guess it closed down once before, and then it was open from 82 to 83, closed down again in 1990 to present. So it has a record of closing down and reopening.
We don't know any other tracks like that, do we?
Yeah, every single one of them. So it's just cool, and I just think it'd be cool to have this book around this way when we talk about other tracks. Like, my brother goes all these tracks, I can pull it up and take a look and see.
Actually, there's another track that I've thought was pretty cool, but I think they're having some troubles now. Was it CNB Bank? Ooh, yeah, that's.
The one in Claremont.
Is that what it was?
Pennsylvania?
I think so. I want to go out there for one of their events, but
I'll tell you what. When I was a kid, it was Claremont Speedway. It was cool. You know what made that track really cool? The modifieds used to go out there and race. Tony Sisconi and we were just talking about Dick Barney. They used to go out there for some big races, and they did win a few times. Mm-hmm. And it was a 5/8 mile wide asphalt track, and the reason they liked it so much was on the back straightaway. They had drive-in movie theater style parking, so you parked up on the hill in your car and you can watch the race. Oh,
that's cool.
That was a big, yeah. It is opening back up. They are going to have a couple races there next year. Somebody took it over, and they're doing mostly like autocross there and car testing and stuff like that. But they are going to hold a few races. That's Pennsylvania. I can look that up real quick. But that's another track. It's been asphalt. It's been dirt. It's been back to asphalt.
But it's a big track. I mean,
it's a real big track. Yeah,
it's wide and it has some decent banking. And I mean, right. I mean, we'd have to change our gears around to run that. But
yeah, it was it's basically like Bridgeport Speedway by the asphalt. Big 5/8 mile.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another track that has a history of opening and closing.
Unfortunately, it seems to be the trend. Actually, I got to add that to the show doc real quick too. So you're still looking that up, Bridgeport. Did you hear what they're doing for? I think it's next year.
I heard that's all rumors. What did you hear? That they're just going to big shows or something?
Running specials only. Not going to run I don't know, but they can do so much between the three tracks that they, have.
I think it's personally, I think it's just going to be specials only for the big track, but I think they're going to have regular point series still for the quarter mile and the 3/8 mile,
like the Friday night enduros and stuff.
Yeah, and then I think they're going to have regular whatever they were racing on the big track this year. I think they're just going to move it to the 3/8 and then have big races, big special only shows on the 5/8.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Now, Scott, you've run down there on the dirt a number of times.
Yeah, but just on the quarter mile, I never ran the big track. I really want to, and I was kind of hinting at Lee Allen today. He's got 2 cars, and they got a race coming up next week. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing with the other car? He's like, my brother's driving. I'm like, oh, really? Well, if that falls through, But I'm supposed to race there this Saturday. Me and Nancy are supposed to race there in the last 8-cylinder enduro race of the year, but there's 90% chance of rain already.
Yeah.
But if the cars are all ready to go, we're all ready to go. It's just a matter if the weather's good.
Yeah. Now, what do you think of that inside wall there on the quarter mile?
You know what? It's funny you say that because I told Nancy the one thing I don't think she's going to like. I've raced plenty of tracks with inside wall. I mean, the first racetrack I raced at was Flemington, and you couldn't see around the corner. I'm used to it, but I told her the first thing that she's going to notice is that inside wall. And it's hard to see around it. Mm-hmm. It takes a little getting used to, but once you get used to it, I don't mind it.
I still enjoy it, but it does make it more difficult to see. I mean, the whole point is to try to look at as far ahead as possible, especially if somebody's got turned around. And in enduro, there's red or green. There's no caution and anything like that. So if you come around it and somebody's facing the wrong way or, stopped sideways, I mean, you don't have a whole lot of time to figure out where to go.
All right. I was wrong. It's not Claremont. Claremont's another track up in New Hampshire. It was Clearfield.
Clearfield.
Clearfield Fairgrounds. Clearfield. There's a couple of them. There's Clearfield Mountain Speedway, Central Jersey, Pennsylvania Speedway. There's Clearfield Speedway, quarter mile dirt oval. There's Clearfield, also see Adventure Park, Gamblers Raceway Park. I know that's a 1/4 mile track next near Clearfield, next to the big track. What did you say it was called? CP Bank, but that was a couple years.
CNB, I believe it was.
Yeah, Bank owned it then. Bank's probably still owned it.
Bank owns it now, but in
Yeah,
a different
yeah.
way.
Yeah, that's all they have on that one.
Clearfield, Pennsylvania. So yeah, that should be the right track.
Yeah. Well, I can see it says C Central Pennsylvania Speedway, which it was probably called in 2003. So now we'll go to Central Pennsylvania Speedway.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, too many damn names.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's the problem with racing too. They switch the names up, and then people get confused. You know, it's like try to keep this thing. All right, here we go. Central Jersey. This is the one we're looking for.
Okay.
Central Pennsylvania Speedway, Clearfield, half-mile dirt oval, 5/29, 1970 to 1986. Then they switched to half-mile paved oval, 1987 to 2002. Also known as Mountain Zion Speedway, also known as Clearfield Speedway, also known as Clearfield Mountain Speedway. So.
Take
There
your
you
pick.
Take your pick.
Either way, it's a cool track, I think.
Now, Josh, if you owned a racetrack, would you think of a clever name like call it, Rolling Thunder Motorsports Park, or would you just name it the town that it's in?
Well, all right. Is this a new track that I'm building, or if like?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
You win this $1 billion lottery that everybody's winning tonight, right?
Well-
you open a racetrack, say off between Route 70 and the Parkway on Route 72 out in the middle of the pines there. What do you
Okay.
call it?
I don't know. I mean, I think I'd like to.
Let's say the town is, I don't know, let's just say the town's Mount Hawken out there. Do you call it Mount Hawken Motor Speedway, or do you think of something clever and name it?
Actually, that doesn't sound that terrible. That name.
No, I
But,
kind of like it. All right, Mount Hawken Motor Speedway.
I mean, if you could kick around something else, but the same.
'Cause, when I was a kid, I've been friends with Kevin Ayers all my life. He took over New Egypt Speedway, and he changed the name from New Egypt Speedway to Central Jersey Speedway, which is still pretty cool. But then you still got to look up and see what town it's in. You know what I'm saying? But back then, New Egypt Speedway, when he took it over, it had a bad light on it because the guy that had it before him was bouncing checks, so he wanted to switch the name to get away from that a little bit.
Yeah.
But
Well-
I like how some tracks out west do it. It's like whatever highway they're on, that's what they name the track, like US 13 Speedway. I always thought that was pretty cool,
Well, I like having the town name in it, but you know how you had Wall Township Speedway, but then there's also Wall
too much
Stadium,
Wall.
Wall Stadium
Yeah.
Speedway. But
Yeah.
at least Wall is consistent in it, so you have an idea, where. And then,
All right, well, there you go. Say if you buy Wall Stadium, what would you do with the name?
honestly, I'm going to keep it as Wall Stadium Speedway because, and here's why. Because if you label it Raceway, idiots think that there's horse racing there.
Right.
So keeping Speedway, it says, hey, it's a racetrack for cars.
So why would you call it Stadium then? Why not just Wall Speedway?
I like the stadium part.
Yeah, you know why? Because then it's a double facility. You can make it a stadium and have other stuff there.
If you can get the town to allow it, yeah.
Well, I'm just saying you can call it Wall Stadium Speedway, and then it's also a stadium. You can also do other stuff other than race.
Yeah, I would love to because you have stadium seating, and that it just applies. And so that's how I would like to keep it. So if I were to win that, I would find I'd probably buy the track and just ensure that it's going to stay a racetrack, so everybody can back the F off.
I always, I've been going there since I was a kid. I always daydreamed of I wanted to. I always kicked around the idea of calling it Jersey Shore Speedway because you're on the Jersey Shore. Maybe you get the shore crowd by saying that.
Do we really want them though?
Hey, nowadays you want anybody that'll show up willing to pay $15 to get in.
I don't know. I mean, it's you don't want to attract a bad crowd, D-bags.
I always like the name Jersey Shore Speedway for that. I thought it'd be cool, and then have checker flag with a wave or something like that.
The quarter midget track that can be Jersey Shore Speedway.
Okay,
on the property of Wall Stadium Speedway. Is that fair?
That's fair.
I'll keep Scott happy too. Anyway.
But then again, with my name, if I own a racetrack, I'm calling it Riggleman Raceway. There we go, and it's perfect.
Well, the alliteration is fun. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, so it's all in a name.
Yeah.
And what's the most important thing about business? Location, location, location.
Yeah.
And a good name helps. And a good name helps.
Oh yeah. Wasn't it who was the classic car guy? Not the one with the mustache. Not the one with the handlebar mustache. The one that goes around and um, is it Wayne Carini? I'm thinking
I
of.
have no idea.
But there was one of his friends that had I don't know, some incredibly expensive car that you or I will never own. And it was involved in a wreck or something like that. But he was talking about like, yeah, this guy like he made it. He's a self-made millionaire. Like he started like a copy business, but he named it like A1. That way it would show up first in the phone book. And
Well, that was a trick I learned when I was a kid. I used to, I worked at my first job out of high school. I worked at Navy Yard cutting the grass, and it was 8 months out of the year, and we were laid off 4 months. So for those 4 months, I would deliver firewood for a guy that sold firewood, and it was such a scam. Like you open up the phone book, it was really for the classifieds in the newspaper. If you sold firewood, the name of his business was like A25, like it was 25 A's, A plus wood service or something like that. It looked so stupid in the end, but it put you first on the top. That was a trick. That's like absolute, absolute auto was big because it was AB, because now you go from the first letter. And then, if everybody has A, then it's the second letter that gets you to the top. So everybody used to use absolute because you had AB, what I'm saying? And that's why Amoco, like transmission, was AA MCO, because this way they're on first in the phone book, But those days are over, and, no one advertises in the phone book. In the paper
no,
anymore.
you just ask your Alexa when it's properly connected to the internet and things like that.
Yeah, but it's funny you bring that up because that was a trick, a marketing trick back in the days. Everybody named their business with an A, That's why A plus auto, like everything was like that. Apple this and Apple that, absolute,
A plus towing or something like that.
Yeah.
They're a dime a dozen, right?
Yeah.
So, anyway, moving.
I put a lot of thought into my towing business when I got it. My last name is Riggleman, and I'm towing, so it was Riggleman Towing. It took me a good week to figure that name out.
I'm sure you consulted with your brother on that as well.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out ideas.
I remember big names too in business, like back in the day. It was affordable this, affordable that, or good deal, or ideal. It was all like everybody had the same names back then. Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right. What are we? Almost a half hour in, and we haven't talked about racing
yet. We do this, Eric, Brennan, and Sam, don't we? All right, let's get to it.
Right. Yeah. So, NASCAR. Comcast does not want to buy NASCAR. Comcast probably doesn't even want to have to send NASCAR through their freaking cable lines for people to watch. Because we're talking about who's going to be the title sponsor when Monster's gone, because Monster, I think, they're doing that year-to-year thing because they don't know what they want to do, and I'm still drinking Red Bull, so they're.
But you know what? Everybody thinks Monster doesn't want to be with NASCAR because they do the year-to-year, but what I'm finding out is they do year-to-year on all their businesses like that. I mean, even with their sponsorship with Kurt Busch, they said even with the motocross stuff, that's just the way they do business year to year. We'll sponsor you this year, and at the end of this year, we'll let you know if we want to do it again. Hey, when they have the money, they have the power. They don't have to sign long deal contracts. They can do,
Yeah.
Because who knows? I mean, this energy drink stuff could be a fad, just like how like Stacker pills were. Remember, like their Stacker was sponsoring everything,
Yeah.
and they were here and going, just like how like all these .coms were a big thing for a while. They, like AOL and all that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff's all gone now too, So I mean, the Monster's smart for just doing it year to year because they don't know when, one day people might wake up and be like, oh, these things are so bad, like cigarettes, and we're not drinking it no more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or it could be as simple as Coca-Cola, who owns Monster, wanting to do something else. All right, we did the Monster Cup for a while, and now we wanted to make it the Diet Coke Cup for a while. What I'm saying? Just switch brands.
It gives them an out if they need it too. It's that way they're not stuck. Like, oh, this whole thing went south, and that's it.
And Monster's smart too. They have the upper hand. They know there isn't a line of companies knocking down NASCAR's door to get in. And if there was, they'd probably be like, all right, we were here long enough. Go ahead. You got somebody else take them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, I I don't know. I mean, it just I think leaves a lot of people with that whole like. Let's go back to Wall Stadium with you know, is it going to be around after? You're waiting for these several year deals. I mean, knowing that it's open for the next year is always nice, but to have that you know n- feeling to know that it's going to be 5 years.
I,
That you'll be
I
able to.
also I also feel that's just the way life is now. Nobody thinks long term anymore. Everybody lives for the moment in the day. So it's just like a 1 year or 2 year deal is a long time nowadays. You know what I'm saying? The days of like 10 year deals and 20 year leases, and that's
Yeah.
over.
Well, it's just I think about people want whether or not they're going to invest in building a car. Like, do I bother if
Well, I
it's
invested last week with a fresh motor, so I hope it's open at
how did
least
that
another
work out
year.
for you?
It worked out fine. But if I get another year out of it, I'll be happy. But the way I look at it, if Wall closes tomorrow, I'm racing somewhere else. It doesn't matter
No,
to me, man.
no, you're a racer. You're going to race, and
Yeah.
I understand and I respect that.
And me and Nancy talk about this a million times because she does see the money I put into this, and she's like, "Man, you're crazy. The track might only be there another year." I said, "Nancy, there's 30 to 40 plus factory stocks in this area. I mean, one night we had 29 cars. Another racetrack's going to look at that and just invite the Wall factory stocks to their track. It might be New Egypt when we might have to go dirt racing, and that's what they did in 2008. Remember, Josh,
I
when they closed
remember
down?
that.
Someone's going to pick our division up. It might be Evergreen, it might be Mahoney, it might be Bridgeport, it might be New Egypt, it might be Bethel Motor Speedway. Someone's taking us. We can, one phone call away, and we can be like, "Hey, we want to come out and run the same exact rules that we did at Wall. We can bring you 15 or 20 cars," and they're going to open the doors. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I would, and nothing against the other tracks, but Wall is a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah.
So to make the drive there, or especially after say.
Oh
with
yeah, of
11
course. We're gonna lose a few teams if that ever happened. A lot of people don't like to travel, and a lot of people can only race Walk because that's close to home and they don't want to travel. Where I like traveling. I mean, we lose a few. That's why I said we can call a track and be like, we can bring 15 or 20. I'm not gonna ever promise them 30. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, whatever. Worst comes to worst, I put it on for sale on a national message board somewhere. Someone's gonna buy it somewhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I don't know how race cars get around the way they do. I mean, after everything you put into them to just sell them, I don't
And
know.
then the motor I just I mean, we're off our NASCAR topic already, but anyway, the motor I just refreshed and that's in my race car. It'd make a hell of a motor in a Chevy pickup or a 69 Camaro. It's a Chevy 350 motor. Who cares? I put money into it to race it. It doesn't have to be in a race car. It can easily go into a street car.
You can put it in
I
a
can drop
boat
it.
if you wanted to.
How cool would that motor be in a Jeep? Chevy S10. I can do anything I want with that motor. I can make a freaking log splitter out of it if I wanted to.
No, it's going to become. You're going to hook it up to a big generator in the back, and then you'll have whole house power.
Yeah. But really, it could be a boat motor. It could be anything. So
yeah,
who cares? Let's go race.
Yeah. Another thing.
I told Nancy I'm going to race Wall Stadium until the doors close. It's that simple. You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Me and Diane Krause might retire together.
You never know.
But she's happy. I'm telling you, we talked to her last night. She really enjoys running that racetrack. I think she's there to stay for a while.
I think there's a sense of community. I think she gets a lot more grief than is necessary. Look, nobody's going to agree with everything.
Right.
That's normal.
She really enjoys the promotion side, and she really enjoys the activity side in the grandstands. And I've been noticing that with her. Other than her selling the tires during the day, we don't see her in the pits much more. She's more involved on the grandstand side. I mean, they had the place decorated awesome Saturday. I mean, it really had a great Halloween field. They all the way down in turn one where they have that that the mulch area down there with the little bit of grandstands. They had it set up like a pumpkin patch, and they were letting people go in there and pick pumpkins and stuff. It was really cool, man. It was a fun day over
there. They do put a lot out for that. I love the themed nights during the season, like the luau night or the
pirate night,
country music night, or whatever they're gonna do. Yeah, they put a lot into it, and it's fun. It really is.
The only thing bad about the Halloween theme night Saturday. Well, here I'm having a little trouble with my brand new motor, and we're trying to work on it and figure something out. And they got like Michael Jackson's Thriller blaring over the loudspeaker, and I couldn't even think straight. You know what I'm saying? They had like ghost and goblin sounds and chains rattling and over the loudspeaker. And I'm trying to work on my race car. I'm like, please turn this down. I'm trying to think. And
Was
I
that
love
noise?
Halloween. I love Halloween, and this sounds corny, but I'm getting real excited. Thursday at midnight on XM radio, they start playing the Halloween music, and I'll leave that on in my tow truck and listen to it all day, all night. Yeah. I love Halloween. Halloween's not really a holiday, but I consider it a holiday. It's my favorite holiday. I always loved Halloween.
Same here. Way better than Thanksgiving. The only good thing about Thanksgiving is Turkey Derby.
Yeah.
I'm not a sit down with extended family and eat be all proper and no, I hate that. I'll get food elsewhere.
So back to NASCAR. Sam mysteriously updated us all on everything. He has trucks going to Martinsville, best race of the year. I agree with that. I enjoy the trucks at Martinsville.
I enjoy the trucks just about anywhere.
Yeah, I do. I love that truck division. And the cool thing about going to Martinsville is sometimes you get like a late model guy because they have to run a half-mile track before they can run a bigger track. So you'll see a short track racer have a truck team and go there and race a little bit, which is cool, And the smaller teams can do better at Martinsville because there's the aero is not as big there, so they can go there and race without the aero stuff and just go there and race on springs and shocks and see how they do.
Yeah.
So I do. I enjoy that race. The Xfinity isn't there that weekend, so they're kind of highlighted that weekend. Yeah, I enjoy it.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see how it all goes.
I just wish they would start more. I hate this 32 thing, man. There's 36 trucks there. Start 36 trucks. If there's 40 pit spots, start 40 of them. Yeah, I just hate this short field stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I agree. Although Martinsville is already pretty darn small, so I mean, I'm sure it'll look.
But they
pretty
start
full.
40 cups there. They start 40 cup cars there. If there's 33 or 34 trucks, don't send 2 home. Start them all.
Oh yeah, when it's that close, definitely.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget. I think was it earlier this year that there was snow at Martinsville?
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And the way the weather just turned on us. Who knows? I mean, they're calling for rain this Saturday. Well, at least by us. It may turn to snow if this temperature keeps up. I think they were talking. Was it 33 the other night? It got down to. I mean, it's just everybody's.
Not this morning, but yesterday morning when I got up, I had to start Nancy's car before she went to work, and it was covered in frost. So I started it for her and warmed it up for her and got the frost off it and everything. Xfinity, quick story on that, funny personal story. We leave the track. Whenever we leave, I always forget, like when I'm at the racetrack, I'm so focused on what I'm doing, I forget that there's other racing going on. So when we get back in the truck, I always say, Nancy, check see who won the Xfinity race, because now I remember the Xfinity race is on. Now I want to see who won. And she looks it up and it says Jay Nemechek, So she's like, oh, Joe Nemechek won the Xfinity race. I'm like, Joe Nemechek or John Hunter? Which was it? She's like, oh, yeah, maybe it was John Hunter. I was happy for a minute because sometimes Joe does race, So I thought Joe won the race, but it ended up being John Hunter. And that was his first Xfinity race. So, congratulations to him.
Yeah. Hemrick, Sam listed as the bridesmaid. Forever a bridesmaid.
Yeah, and he's got a real good shot at winning this championship now. He's hanging up in there.
Yeah. Okay, so then moving on to Cup. Some idiot won again.
I tell you what, Chase Elliott's having a good year, and it's good to see because a lot of people are starting to doubt him going to Cup, and they're starting to make fun.
I'm still doubting it.
You're still doubting it? He's got 3 wins now. You got to stop.
He's not helping my doubt, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, some people were calling him Disgrace Elliott instead of Chase Elliott.
Choke Elliott. You got to get it right.
Yeah, Choke Elliott.
Well, I think a big part of it was getting that first one. It gets the monkey off your back, and
I don't even think it was that. I just think it was Hendrick race team as a whole. I think the Hendrick's race team is getting better, and now he's got more of a better car to win with. You know what I'm saying?
Other than that, Kansas, not all that exciting. Although going back 2 weeks, Talladega was not that exciting. The truck race was decent, I think, but Talladega didn't prove to be what we expected it to be. And I'm not saying, there needs to be a big one or anything like that. It just, 4 cars broke away and just kind of did their thing until Kurt Busch ran out of fuel.
Yeah, and Kevin Harvick too. I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row that Kevin Harvick had a real good shot of winning, and something went wrong at the end. I mean, he could have won Kansas too, and he had a speeding penalty on pit road, and it ruined his chance there.
Yeah.
And he's handling it well. Like the old Kevin Harvick would be flipping out, and he's kind of handling it well.
Yeah. But now in shades of what we saw at Talladega, all 4 of the Stewart-Haas racing cars are in.
So what'd you say? Talladega Super Speedway, Talladega, also known as Alabama International Motor Speedway. 2.6 mile paved oval.
2.6.
Well,
where'd you get the extra 10th?
2.66. No, it's bigger than Daytona.
Okay, not by much, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's bigger. See, this book's awesome, ain't it, Josh? 2.66 mile paved oval. Open 9/12/1969 to present. Proposed in January of 1967. Turns bank 33 degrees. Designed by Bill Moss. 4.0 mile paved road course. Became U.S. fastest close course track when Mark Donohue toured the oval track at 221 miles an hour in a Sunoco Porsche on 8/9/1975. Tony Lund fatally injured in crash here on 8/17/1975.
Wow.
There you go.
Okay.
Now you learned something new. You really didn't know Talladega was 2.6 and was bigger than Daytona. They wanted to make it a little bit bigger than Daytona, so it was the biggest track on the circuit.
Yeah, but just barely. That's like saying my roller coaster is 2 feet taller than yours.
Well, that's exactly it. Because back then there was competitions like that. I mean, even in the building industry with the skyscrapers, they all had to make the next one a little bit taller, a little bit taller. So back then it was bigger was better. Just why Coca-Cola 600 was 600 miles and not 500 miles. Everybody had to outdo the next person.
It's good to know what matters.
Yeah, size matters. But now I'm saying it doesn't matter. So you're in good shape now, Josh. So.
You're a dick. So after Kansas, we have our finalists for the round of 8. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Martin Truex Jr., Clint Boyer, Kurt Busch, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola. Honestly, I wasn't expecting some of these names. Clint, I didn't think was going to make it in. Same for Eric, until he got that win.
So all 4 Stewart-Haas cars are still in this chase, huh?
Yeah.
Joey Logano is the only one left from Penske.
Yes. And Chase Elliott's the only Chevy.
Yeah. But he's running good though. He's still got a shot. I mean, I'm telling you, everybody's still got a shot at this.
Well, you said it in a previous episode. It's kind of like
whoever
NASCAR.
wins.
Yeah, Homestead. It's all about Homestead.
Homestead is the champion.
So we have Martinsville, Texas, and then ISM. I don't know. We're gonna see what's gonna happen. It's like you said, it can be anybody's game here. I don't know. I don't have a pick. I mean, fine, great. Chase has been on a bit of a.
Well, let's take a couple picks. I mean, let's take a heartfelt pick and a little bit of a dark horse. My heartfelt, I just Kevin Harvick's too good. I really think he's going to win it. I really do. And not really Kevin Harvick. His crew chief is just so smart and so good. I think Kevin Harvick's going to win. And my dark horse, believe it or not, is Eric Almirola. I mean, he just seems to get in. He had to win. He won. He had to finish in the top 10. He finished in the top 10. And he's hanging around. He's been running better.
Well, for me, I want to say I'd like to see Truex take it again and back up what he did and prove it wasn't a fluke.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I mean, he would go down in history then, if he can do back to back.
Yeah, I'm just because I mean I know they dominated so much last year with all those stage wins and everything else. but to prove that they can still do it, and go out on truly the highest note for that team. Um, as for a dark horse, I don't know. Chase might do it. I don't want him to, but he very well could. And it's like you were saying with Eric sneaking in, and that's a good point. Um, Chase has had that, bobbling around, last minute screw ups, things like that, but he's here, round of 8. He's made it this far, and this late in the season, 2 wins. So
He's got 3 wins now, right?
well, 3 wins total, but I would say the 2 wins in the last couple weeks.
Right. Yeah, he's coming on strong in the end, and so is Eric
Yeah.
Almirola. He was struggling to win, and now he's running up front and winning during the chase, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So
Where Kevin Harvick's kind of going the opposite way, where he was dominating at the beginning of the year, and now he's making mistakes in the chase.
yeah. Well, he's Jimmy Johnsoning it up. I guess we'll.
God, he spun out again, man. What's going on there?
Yeah. Well, what was it? Johnson went around on his own in Talladega. They were talking about some of the progressive banking through the tri-oval, like he bobbled and then that just made it worse. I don't know.
Well, what happened in Kansas? He hit the wall or something like that, but he rallied back, right? Then he finished 7th or something like that.
I'd have to check.
It's going.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try. Not until that connection gets better there.
So what track are we going to next, Josh?
Martinsville.
Martinsville Speedway. Martinsville, half-mile dirt oval. Open
I shouldn't have answered.
7/04/1947 to 6/26/1955. Red Byron was the first winner. The track builder was H. Clay Earls. Half-mile paved oval from 10/2/1955 to present. Has been running annual NASCAR Grand National Winston Cup races since 9/25/1949. Unfortunately, Richie Evans was fatally injured here in 1985.
Who else was killed there in practice? I think it was
Charlie Zombek.
No,
was killed in the modified there.
Yes, correct. I was, but it was in a cup car, I believe. They were
Someone
doing.
got killed there in a cup car?
Yeah, testing. The throttle stuck. Oh, jeez.
I just know Richie Evans and Charlie Zombek. I didn't know if anybody. I remember Martin Truex Jr.'s throttle stuck there. Remember?
Yeah,
He hit
yeah. You didn't know that you could hit that hard at that track.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up while we do other stuff.
Yeah. I don't know if a cup guy got killed there or not. Unfortunately, Richie Evans got killed there, and he was my favorite driver. And I'll tell you a quick little Scott Riggleman story. Me and my brother, we went to a very small school in Farmingdale, Farmingdale Elementary School. It was so small that the 8th grade class trip, grammar schools always had a big trip for the 8th graders,
Mm-hmm.
Well, they would bring the 7th and 8th because we didn't have enough kids just for 8th. So I was in 7th, my brother was in 8th, and we went to Washington, D.C. on a class trip, which isn't far from Martinsville. And me and my brother, we were there Friday in Washington, D.C. It was a Thursday and Friday trip, overnight trip with the school. And me and my brother woke up Friday morning, and it was all over the newspaper. And me and my brother were huge Richie Evans fans. And, of course, nobody else in my school who knew who he was. But, man, we saw the newspaper. I said, Tim, Richie Evans died. And we had to call back to my mom. This before cell phones and everything. Had to ask our teacher if we can call our mom and see if it was true. But meanwhile, I was in the newspaper, so it was true,
Yeah.
So it's just like, one of those moments where were you when this happened? Me and my brother were on a class trip in Washington, D.C. when Richie Evans got killed. Because it was weird too. The weird thing about it was they practiced on a Thursday, so no one even realized they were practicing. So him getting killed on a Thursday was kind of weird because the first thing was like, well, where was he racing? It was like, oh, that's right, Martinsville was practicing on Thursday.
Yeah. Hang on, let's see here. I think I've almost found. I said almost. So you were in D.C. to find
on a field trip with school.
And you were in 7th?
I was in 7th. My brother was in 8th. Yeah. We toured all the buildings, the White House, all that stuff like that, like an education. It was crazy. We used to go to the Martinsville race with Shannon Connor and his family because they owned property not far from Martinsville. They lived in Troutville, which is not far from Martinsville.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go stay at their house in Troutville, and then we would drive over to the racetrack and watch Martinsville. And we were planning on going to that race, but that was our class trip, so we didn't go. We went to the. Not saying I would have been on the track on Thursday when it happened, but
Yeah.
we would have been there for that weekend. But we opted to go on our class trip. But we were still close to Virginia, being in Washington.
Let's see.
I don't think anybody died there in a Cup car, Josh.
Yeah, I thought it was a testing crash or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know. Then a couple of years later, after Richie Evans died, Charlie Zombach went there and he died too, and it's basically the same thing, throttle stuck. And on another side note, that's when NASCAR changed the front clips on the modified. They went from having a 20-degree front clip to a 30-degree front clip because they figured if they put some more angle into it, it wasn't so rigid. It would bend when they hit.
okay.
So everybody talks about when Earnhardt got killed, some stuff got changed, so no one else got killed. Well, NASCAR did it too with the modifieds. After Richie and Charlie J got killed, they made a mandatory rule that you couldn't have a 20-degree angle front clip anymore. You had to switch to 30-degree, and that made it collapse more and made the chassis more forgiving and not as rigid, so the driver can survive the accident.
Well, it sucks, but I mean that's it. If you think about it, just like with like rockets or something like that, it's great when things work. And it really is, and it sucks when they fail, but you learn so much more in a failure. Because you can see how everything reacted to this. When you find the source of what went wrong, and then you can go back and monitor and look at everything else that happened with it, and you can improve so many things after the problem. Like, oh wow, I had no idea that would ever behave like that, and well, now you know. But yeah,
I'm going to make a bold prediction here.
Oh boy.
Ready?
Yeah.
Jimmy Johnson is going to win Martinsville. He's going to turn it around and win Martinsville.
Is he just going to wreck everybody?
No, I just think he gets it together and he comes out of his zone because he used to win at Martinsville a lot. And I think this is a track where he can really turn it around and get something done.
Well, what's Jimmy Johnson's racing history? Let's talk about that for a second. Like, where did he come from? What did he start out doing? Because we know Truex from, game up racing modifieds.
Jimmy Johnson took a weird route to racing. He was running like he did motocross, and from motocross he went to like the Baja stuff, like the Mickey Thompson off-road series and stuff like that. And then somehow he got involved in Grand National racing, Xfinity, whatever you want to call it,
What division was he in when with that crash at Watkins Glen?
Watkins Glen. That was the Xfinity series.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, he was just a young up and comer at that point.
Yeah. I tell you what, I don't know what Jeff Gordon even seen in him to pick him because that was an underfunded team, that Herzog team he was driving for, and he was wrecking it all the time. And Jeff Gordon handpicked him himself, and everybody's like, "What, are you crazy?" And he was right. I mean, the guy ended up winning more championships than Jeff Gordon.
Yeah. And I will say, everybody likes to make the jokes, at Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus and all that. And I still think that move at the Roval was stupid and unprofessional, but, whatever. I will say they're both very well spoken. They're intelligent individuals, and they speak clearly. They know what they're talking about, and maybe that's why Gordon picked him. If you think about it, just if he knows how to speak and it's not just you got to talk the talk, right?
Right.
And seriously, I don't even have anything open. Come on, this damn computer. So,
all right. So that's my prediction for Martinsville. Jimmy Johnson, trucks. I really don't know. I'll go with Johnny Sauter. I think Johnny Sauter can win down there.
Okay.
What, Nancy? Nancy's pick is rain. I mean, they're going to get it in sooner or later. You know what? If they're racing Monday, I might take a ride down there. I always wanted to do that. I did that for Pocono one time. They rained out, and I think me and Gasco just jumped in the car and went and showed up there on a Monday. It's cool going to a race on a Monday because only like half the people are there, and they kind of streamline it too. There's no like pre-race stuff and all that stuff. They just race, It's pretty cool. You just shoot up there, and half the time they let you just walk in because they already sold tickets and they know people ain't coming back. You don't have to pay to get in. You just walk right in and just sit down and watch the race.
Fill the stands, please.
Yeah, exactly. Come buy a hot dog, please. We got a bunch left over.
Well, I'm going to say I'm stuck because Clint Boyer's last win was Martinsville, right?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good pick.
Yeah, and he's been strong lately, so he might have a shot. But then again, that one might have been kind of a fluke to end up where they did. So Eric might be another good option there.
Eric Brennan?
No. He'd have to show up for that to happen. No, Eric Almirola.
Okay.
He still spells it better than Brennan.
I hate that name.
Brennan?
I don't care how you spell it. I hate it. I really hate it spelled with an A. He's all right, but so it's really Eric, right? Eric Almirola when it's spelled with an A.
Yeah, but when it's coming out of that southern drawl, it's hard to tell anything.
Yeah. What about trucks?
Norm
Benning? Hey, he's got a shot.
Why not? I think.
Going back to Talladega, didn't Jennifer Jo Cobb finish like 10th or something like that?
I don't have results.
She had a good run. I remember her saying too that she had somebody from one of the bigger teams come over and like loan her a set of shocks and change some springs for her, and she went out there and it was like a night and day difference with the truck, and she ran very well. So. I know we were off last week, and we just want to give a shout out to a smaller team finishing good in a race like that.
Yeah. Wow.
All right. So F1, that's all you, dude. I know nothing about F1.
Well, Kimi Räikkönen, one of my favorite personalities in Formula One. Nick Rendo seems to strongly dislike him and can't wait for him to be off the team. He broke I think 113 race winless streak. Vettel was going to have a decent shot, but he made contact early, got spun around, and there was just a mess there. But Kimi walked away with it, which was...
Was it a real win or was it a team-ordered win?
That's it. Vettel had been... After that spin, he was back, and he was fighting for, I don't know, maybe top 5. So he just didn't have the car to get back up to Kimi. So it was no team orders there. Good. Towards the end of the race, you actually had some, I think it was like 2 to go. You actually had position battles, like side-by-side battles. It was a good race overall. But surprisingly, Austin has been a good race for Formula One. Let's see. Max Verstappen made an incredible drive through the field. I forget exactly where he ended up. But I was going to say his teammate, Daniel Ricciardo, another... mechanical failure. I don't know if the engine can be. I don't know, but mechanical failure again. This is his last year with Red Bull, and it seems like he has a streak of just stuff breaking. So I don't know. Maybe is he doing it on purpose so he can just go back and relax till next year or what? But yeah, it just whatever. Grosjean getting blamed again. Well, granted that he did go in a little too hot, locked up the left front, took out Leclerc. Then there's another part I want to talk about real quick. Lance Stroll. This is like lap 1, or they're 4 wide, whatever. Lance Stroll was on the inside, like pretty much over the curbing already, just as low as he possibly could be, and then they're coming out of the turn, and he's holding his line, staying real low, and Alonso came down into his left front. I mean, I guess maybe he could have turned farther off the track. I don't know. But they're like, oh, and Stroll turns into Alonso. Wait, no! Watch the camera angle. I don't know if they're just babying, Alonso because he's some national symbol or so. I don't know. It bothers the hell out of me when they protect drivers or take sides on that crap. And no, it clearly wasn't Stroll's fault there, but they want to blame him anyway. I don't know. I hate that stuff. Love to punch that announcer in the face, but Yeah, people suck. Overall, yeah, it was a good race. I suggest going and rewatching it. It just there was a lot of excitement, and not just that opening lap excitement. There were side by side battles. There you had Verstappen coming up through the field. You had pit strategies. So Eric Brennan is drooling over it. It just through and through. I know you didn't get a chance to watch because you were busy.
Polishing diamond rings. Have you seen a picture of the ring on social media? I think that box was empty that he presented to her. I don't think he has any money for a ring.
No. That was all that money was spent on a necklace. Awkward silence. Um, Anyway, so let's get into our local stuff real quick because I really don't have anything for IndyCar. They're obviously, I'm sure they're doing plenty of stuff. It's just
well, one quick announcement that ARCA made that I thought was pretty cool. They're going back to Pensacola, Florida next year on March 9th,
Why?
2019. Pensacola, Florida is a Five Flag Speedway.
Okay.
It's where they have the snowball derby. It's actually a real cool track. And you ask why, and I'm going to tell you why. Because like the truck series, which I think is crazy, they have a big gap from Daytona to their second race of the year.
Yes.
ARCA used to race February at Daytona, and then they wouldn't race again until April, somewhere in the Midwest, They did try a couple tracks like Mobile, Alabama. I think they even went to like Laguna Seca or something like that, somewhere like a road course in Florida or something. They tried to do something like that for a little while. So they had nothing. So there was a big gap. So now they put March 9th to fill the gap. They're still in Florida. Pensacola, it's a short track. I think it's a 5/8 mile racetrack. So they're going there March 9th, which I think is pretty cool.
Now, like NASCAR, will you see different drivers maybe or smaller teams show up? Because it's only a 5/8 mile, not this super speedway.
Is a huge late model track. Like that's like where they have the biggest late models of the races of the year there.
Okay.
I think you might even see maybe like a late model team try to run an ARCA car.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I think it's cool. Just something I want to put out there because people are asking what's going on with ARCA and stuff. So.
All right. Well, I want to get into a little of the local stuff. First off, Scott, a Democrat through and through, because he's part of the reason they took down the wall.
Well, I took, at Hudson Speedway, a track that I raced at last year, it was actually a year ago Saturday that I had that bad flip up there when I hit the tire wall and went flipping.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe me, you can Google Scott Riggleman Hudson Speedway flip on YouTube and see the video. It's close to 4,000 views.
That's more than our.
They just put on Facebook today that the tire wall that flipped me over is no longer. It probably wasn't hard for them to take it down because I took half of it down last year. You know what I'm saying? So they only had half of it left to take down, but they removed it and they're showing nothing there now. I'm sure they're going to replace it with a regular standard concrete wall or something.
It's got to be better. You can't leave it where they're just going to go off into the trees, right?
Right, because the problem there is there's about 20 foot of brush and then there's a pond back there, so they're going to have to put something. But there's a new owner there and he's making improvements, and he definitely sees that tire wall's flipping cars over. I think there's 4 or 5 flips there this year. It's the same way I did it.
Yeah. Who paid for that wall? Did they pay for that?
The Mexicans pay for it. That's who pays for it.
Where is Suarez? But yeah, so you think that's going to be an improvement then, ultimately?
Well, it's still, undetermined because they showed pictures of them taking it down and it all cleared there, but they didn't let anybody know what they're putting up. So we'll see what they put up, but anything's got to be better than what it was,
Right.
Or nothing could be better than what was there. You know what I'm saying?
I just see my fear, like I said, would be somebody going really wide off of 2 and then just, head on down into a tree, versus, taking some of that energy out as, not that flips are fun, but you do dissipate the energy a little bit better, I think. I don't know. So we'll see where that goes. We talked about earlier some of the tracks in Scott's book that are going to be making comebacks, and he's getting it ready.
Well, I just looked up Five Flag Speedway, but we moved on too quick from that. But it was Pensacola, Florida, Five Flag Speedway, half-mile dirt oval, opened in 1953. It became a half-mile paved oval. Wow, it only lasted as a dirt oval for 1 month. It opened 5/31/1953 as a dirt oval. At 6/13/1953, it was paved. So it's almost like they opened it before they got a chance to pave it. They said, "Oh, we didn't pave it yet, but we're going to race." But 2 weeks later, it was paved. It was a pattern after Darlington Raceway. The track was built by Bud Wilson Sr. It cost it $90,000 to build in 1953. Well, that's a lot of money back then. Huh?
Yeah.
The track was dusty for the first race. There was a 14-car pileup on the first lap. 2 weeks later, Herb Thomas won the NASCAR Grand National race there on the newly paved track.
Okay.
So there you go. Now I got to find you.
So, Scott, if you win that lottery, are you going to buy a track or build a track?
You know what? There's so many for sale, and there's so many in dire needs of fixing up. I would just buy one that is currently there and really fix it up and make it modern.
Okay.
How cool would it be to buy it like Evergreen Raceway in Pennsylvania and like just take down the wall and
put in banking,
put in banking, or at the very least, I'd be the first short track to have safer barrier all the way around.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, I'd have safety.
And
take all
you
the walls
could
down.
build it. And if you're going to take everything down and start fresh, you could actually build it to accommodate and still be, because like you said, the drivers are just going to get used to it if you close in the track with a safer barrier.
Right, you would have the money to move the whole wall back. You just want to put the safe. That's what I mean. I would see. There's two ways of doing safer barrier. If there's an existing wall there, they put the safer barrier in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you build a track now and there's no wall, they just put safer barrier up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would completely take the wall away and put safer barrier up so you wouldn't lose that 3 foot or 36 inches.
Extend the whole wall and everything back
right.
to do that. Okay.
How cool would Evergreen Speedway be? First of all, you repave. I'd probably leave the track exactly the same. I would repave it. I would put in safer barrier, and I would put up brand new catch fence all the way around it. Nice looking catch fence.
Right.
And Musco lighting.
You love that. I know. You
got to have it. You go to these football stadiums, you can see the colors of the kids' eyes at a high school football on a Friday night. You go to Mountain Speedway, you can't even see or Evergreen Speedway, you can't even see the backstretch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Put that Musco lighting in, light that place up, make it a modern facility, man. Have Wi-Fi in there for the kids. Phone charging stations. Got to update it. It's
really ambitious, but at the same time, if you want to make it, fresh, modern, nice, and maybe
might as well build a new one.
No, because that's one of those things. If you do keep the track the same, like while I would appreciate a little bit of banking there.
I like Evergreen. I think it's wide enough to race, where modifieds can still put on a good show, but it's not so big where you need $1 million motor to compete and win. I always liked Evergreen because I remember when I was a kid, John Blewett III having the 2-barrel modified that he raced at Wall Stadium in Flemington. He would just put a 4-barrel on there and go up there and win. He didn't need a big dry sump motor, aluminum heads, and all that stuff. Ken Woolley used to do it too. He used to do it with the Pete Neldles car. He'd just take the 2-barrel off, put the 4-barrel on the steelhead motor, and go up there and win. You didn't need big motor up there. You know what I'm saying? And then you can still have your modified races, and it's still a cool track for the cheaper divisions like the 4-cylinders and the factory stocks and enduros and stuff like that.
I like Evergreen. I do.
I do too.
I would upgrade a few things.
All right, there you go. What would you call it? I've been thinking about this for a while too. I mean, it's been called Mountain Speedway. It's called Pocono Mountain Speedway. It's been called Evergreen. It's in the town of Drums, Pennsylvania. I mean, I could always fall back on my Riggleman Raceway thing, or I thought about it. It's on Mill Mountain Road, right?
Okay.
The track's on Mill Mountain Road. I'd call it Mill Mountain Motor Speedway. That's what I'd call it.
MMMS.
Or Mill Mountain Raceway.
I still like Speedway. I like Speedway.
Yeah.
If all right, here's the other thing. If I
just call it Mill Mountain Speedway, a Mill Mountain Motorsports Park. something like that. I don't know.
Motorsports Park attracts those wine and cheese fellas with the SCCA.
Is that where you think that motorsports park thing comes from?
That's well. I mean, you look at Millville, and I appreciate it, and I love running the go karts there. But other than when the Lemons guys come down, it's a lot of guys with a lot of money and expensive. I mean, all the cars are expensive. I get it,
I
but
think for you to call it a motorsports park, you need something other than your oval.
yeah,
Like I would make a little road course for go karts or something like that, and then you have a motorsports park. You know what I'm saying? You need more than one track if you wanted. Like Wall Stadium can almost be called a motorsports park because they have the inner oval, they have the big track, they have the quarter midget track. You know? So it's a motorsports park. There's more than one thing going on there.
If they had a road course, would be another thing. Oh, real quick, another thing I would do if I were to hit that lottery, I would buy out Freehold Raceway, and as much as I love asphalt racing, I would turn it into a dirt racing track and get rid of all the stables. Those would become stalls for race cars.
Well, I think I told you the story.
If they want to bet, they can bet on the race cars.
I don't know if I told you the story in person or if I did it on air one time, but when I was a kid, there was this old dresser in my basement, closed dresser. My mom had stuff stored in it. Mm-hmm. Well, finally, we're getting ready to throw it away. So we it's in the basement, so we had to carry it up. So we take the drawers out, take everything out of it. Well, back in the day, the people used to line the bottom of their dresser drawers with newspaper.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, we took the newspaper out, and it was from the early 60s, and we read the newspaper articles, and they were talking about paving Freehold Raceway and making it a racetrack for race cars, you know? So then ever since I read that article, being a kid, every time we passed over there, because the big thing is we used to go up Route 9, and if people know Freehold, the racetrack is on one side, and the horse stalls are on the other side, and there's a bridge that goes over the highway. And if you timed it just right when the races were going, you would see the horses cross the bridge as you're driving underneath it, you know? I always thought it'd be cool. How cool would it be to have the pits on the other side of the highway and the race cars got to come across the bridge and onto the racetrack, you know?
I just picture Sam running back and forth trying to line cars up.
No, but I mean, they would have to have a pit road, and you would have to bring your stuff out there during the race. But like you said, it already has the garages, for the horse stalls. So you just turn them in for the race cars,
That would be so much fun to do.
What would you call it? Freehold Raceway or Freehold Speedway now?
It would change to Speedway.
It would be Freehold Speedway?
Yeah.
Just Freehold Speedway, that's it.
Yeah. I put it. I don't know. They put like we said nay to horses.
Well, anyway, back to Hudson Speedway. Hudson quarter-mile paved oval, 1948 to present. And when I learned up there, they never repaved that track, so that pavement is still from 1948, and you can tell.
Has Wall ever been repaved?
Oh, yeah, it was repaved in 1991.
91, okay.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Tony Siscone went out there, and it was like 2 seconds faster than they were doing the year before. It was like unbelievable. They were doing like 11-second laps back there with the modifieds when it was first paved. The track had so much grip. They were blowing motors up, changing gears. What a world of difference. And the wall was repaved in 1991. Hudson Speedway quarter-mile paved oval 1948 to present, ran an expedition race in late 1947 along with an auto thrill show quarter-mile paved figure-8 road course, 1960s, 2001 to present. So it must have closed down in the 60s and reopened. That place has been open forever. The figure-8 course was closed down in the 60s and 2001 to present. Yep, still open.
You can run the horses in the figure-8. That's my stupid idea for the day. Anyway, so we already talked about Bridgeport possibly running specials only. There's rumors and this and that. I don't know exactly what's going to go down. They're talking about that being a way to lose less money by just holding big events only. But like you said, probably still going to run the Friday night stuff and.
Yeah, me and Nancy talk about that too. We're all daydreaming over this big lottery. And if we took over Wall Stadium, me and her talk about we would probably do that with the modified division. Just go to have like I always said I would have like a Lucky 7. I'd call it the Lucky 7 series. And I'd have 7 big modified races. You know what I'm saying? And that's called the Lucky 7 Series. It's getting to the point now where if you race, the modifieds are so expensive to run and to pay them what they deserve, and the fans got to pay extra to get in the grandstands. It's coming back to a 7-race series. You know what I'm saying? And you get more cars that way, make them all time trial races. And
Give them more time to fix stuff too.
Yeah, and if they want to travel and do other tracks, they can. And I just for some reason I came up with the name Lucky 7 Race Series, and they'd be all 100 lappers except Turkey Derby. That would be 150 lapper. You know.
Okay.
Another cool thing this book shows, like here you go, Monadnock Speedway. I raced there too. Winchester, New Hampshire, quarter-mile dirt oval, 1971 and 1974. Quarter-mile paved oval, 1975 to present. Also known as Monadnock Motor Speedway. Bronson Speedway in Florida was patterned after this racetrack. That's the track I raced in Florida. Now, when I looked, first thing I get this book, I looked up Bronson Speedway. It said Bronson Speedway, listed the track, and it said sister track Monadnock Speedway in New Hampshire. So I thought that was pretty cool that it had a sister racetrack.
I like that theory. I like that.
Yeah. And I tell you what, we're talking about daydreaming and on racetracks. If I was ever to build a racetrack from scratch, Bronson Speedway would have another sister track. Because I really think that's the perfect short track. It's 3/8. It's high bank, but not super high bank where a wall where it cuts you down the one lane. It's wide sweeping. It's just a perfect racetrack. You can run a high power modified there, or you can run a 4-cylinder division there. It's like perfect for everybody.
Scott, have you ever run on progressive banking?
Yeah, I did. That track I raced in Kansas. Kansas was patterned after Irwindale Speedway, where all that progressive banking started. It was cool. It was definitely cool. You could run the outside, the inside, the middle. It was definitely cool.
So you're a fan of the idea?
Oh, yeah, because if you're down low, now you're going the shortest way around, but you got no banking to hold you. So now the guy up top, he can try to beat you around the top, take the long way around, but he has the banking to hold him in so he can go a little bit faster. It was cool. And then there was times I would slide up, I'd start in the bottom and slide up into the second lane where there was a little more banking and get the bite run coming off. I love that track. That track was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I did run progressive banking. It was a little weird at first, but I got used to it pretty quick.
Well, I was just wondering because I know at Bristol, when they...
It didn't work so well.
Yeah, that's... Well, because you have that.
But you know why? It was too progressive. It progressed up too high. You know what I'm saying? Like, basically, when you
it should have maxed out at a certain degree.
Yeah, you want to go from 6 degrees to 9 degrees to 15 degrees. They were going from like 10 degrees to 20 degrees to 30 degrees. It was too much of a progressive banking. Going too high. Where the track I raced, I think it went from like 9 to 15 to 20, or 6 to 9 to 15.
Yeah.
It still wasn't a high bank track. You went from flat to having a little bit of banking to race on. Where Bristol tried to be banking, they just went to everything was still banked. Even when you were in the bottom lane, you were still on banking. It was still holding you.
So
where the track I raced at, it was either flat or you ran the bottom where it was flat, or you ran the top where it was banked,
Yeah. So, but we see a lot of guys, run the top at Bristol because you have more banking. So what's the deal with Darlington? Like, what causes everyone to run that high line?
I really don't know.
Because that seems to be the preferred way around.
Yeah.
And is there more banking up there? There's got to be more grip or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's one thing I've always tried to figure out. I mean, is it just that kind of an awkward shape? But they make it work.
I can always look it up in my book and see what they say.
Yeah, you do that. Because now we're going to head into the Wall Stadium local bit, where Brian O'Shea finally got that monkey off his back with his first factory stock win. That was in the second feature. I
tell you what, Brian was fast all day. Brian was fast in practice. Brian was fast in his heat race.
Yeah. Who screwed him in the first race?
I think it was me.
Yeah.
He was a victim of my carburetor troubles. He was stuck behind me. But no, Brian ran very well. But he did win from the pole, so in my theory, that doesn't count. So now we got to see if he can win from the back. He got his first win from the pole, so we'll give him that. Let him celebrate his little win and have his checker flag, pictures, and his trophy.
Well, I'm wearing his shirt now. But I did talk to him for a couple minutes yesterday. Just a quick chat.
You didn't ask him to come on with us so we can gloat?
I did. He politely declined.
He's not a talker. I mean, you know,
Poor Jeff Gravatt having to talk him through that.
I tell you what, he did. I did listen to his victory lane speech.
It wasn't
because
bad.
I was. This kid is not going to talk at victory lane. He did very well. He really did good. He thanked all his sponsors. He cheated a little bit. He stepped back and read them off his car, but he did very well with his victory lane speech.
I'm
And
sure
then-
it was overwhelming too.
Yeah, and then I went over and congratulated him, and I gave him a nice little pep talk, congratulated him, and told him it was well deserved, and it was definitely coming, and he just stared at me with this blank stare, and said thank you, and walked away. But now Brian's a great kid. We just bust on him because he's not a big talker.
Yeah.
His dad does enough talking for him though, so that it kind of levels it out. I was also happy for Tim. Tim put a lot of effort in for his kid to race. He spent a lot of money. They're definitely all in. Tim sponsors the division. He sponsors me. He sponsors a few other people that race there. Tim's definitely all in there, and he's definitely passionate about it. And for him to get that win with his kid, it was awesome. But a lot of people don't know the behind the scenes thing. Before that race, Tim and his son got in a little disagreement in the pits, and Tim went did a grandstand, so he didn't even send him off, because Tim's usually there, turns his GoPros on, tightens his belts up, sends him off the track.
Yeah.
Tim wasn't even there. He was at the grandstand, so I guess they patched things up after the win.
Maybe it's what you need sometimes, but yeah, I think that win was a long time coming. I mean, he dominated
I thought,
last Turkey Derby.
after he was really fast at Turkey Derby, and I thought after seeing how fast he was at Turkey Derby that he would start the season off and have a couple wins by midsummer, and things just didn't pan out for him,
Talk about bad luck. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he had leads and stuff would break, and or he'd have a half a track lead and the yellow would come out. Next thing you know, Elliot, Mikey Montano, me, Kenny Green are on his back bumper,
Yep.
But now he's got that one win, and it took me 8 years to win my first race, and then after I got that first win, they started coming pretty easy, So he's going to start winning. He's going to win a lot of races next year. He might even win Turkey Derby for all we know.
Yeah, he's like I said. I remember racing down at Millville. We did the go karts there, and I made that cart as wide as possible, and I watched him just kind of drive by me. And I mean, the kid could drive. I knew he could drive,
Right.
and it's good to see him.
But you know what I didn't know about the O'Shea family? I know Tim had a son that raced quarter midgets, did very well in quarter midgets.
Yes.
So I said to Tim, well, of course your son Brian's going to be good. You race all those races in quarter midgets. He's like, Scott, you know what the funny part is? That was my other son. Brian didn't race quarter midgets. I'm like, really?
Yep. There was TJ. Yes. Well, I mean, Tim's been in it for quite a long time, and like I said, he's helped a lot of guys out. He's helped me out. I've been honored to to be able to drive his cars a couple times, and he's got some good equipment, and they were fast cars.
Yeah, he spares no expense, man.
Yeah, I mean, he loves it, and him and his brother, Sean, who passed away years ago, were involved with it, and I was able to bring to life one of their memories with when my water pump pulley came off one night in the 54 and went through the radiator, and that fan is right here on the wall. But yeah, no, just, I mean, a great guy, great family, and it's just, I even told Tim and Brian, like, I don't know if I'm just more happy for Brian or more relieved that it finally happened and it's out of the way. Like we said.
And you're right. It almost like the beginning, they were trying too hard to win. It's almost like they just got to race and let it happen,
Yeah.
If you try too hard, sometimes you screw up too,
Yeah. It's just, yeah, you get some of those dumb problems and things like that or whatever. But, yeah, so, we're going to move on to Turkey Derby and
Well, hold on a
see how it goes.
second. You
Well,
asked me to
no,
look something
I'm just saying for that. But
Okay, we got Darlington Raceway, Darlington, built by Harold Brasington, 1.25 mile paved oval, 9/04/1950 to 9/01/1952. First race was the Southern 500. 1.36 mile paved oval, so they must have changed it a little bit. 7/04, which is July 4th, 1953 to present, turns bank 26 degrees, so it doesn't say anything about progressive banking.
Right. Huh. All right. Well, back into the Wall Stadium stuff here. Uh, as we already mentioned, Brian O'Shea won the second factory stock feature, followed by Monjo, Mikey Montano, Tom Ruszkowski, and Ron Booth Jr. And
Oh, man, you
let's
did the top 5. I finished 6th.
yeah, I was just saying 6. Scott,
I started
some
16th and finished 6th, so that was pretty good.
some old washed up guy.
Yeah. Has been.
But no, it was. Let's see, 20 cars, and
We actually had 22.
20.
A couple didn't. I'll tell you a quick funny story. Matt Podesta, right? In the number 99.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. I mean, he's a true racer. That guy comes to the racetrack by himself. I mean, nobody comes. He's by himself. Every week he's there by himself. He ran good in the first one. He was starting either the pole or the outside pole in the second one. And his car was loaded up on the trailer. I said, Matt, you're on the pole, bro. Why are you loaded up? Do you need something? Oh no, I gotta go to dinner. We got a shore house here, and we got dinner reservations for 4:30 or 5 o'clock. I gotta go to dinner. I can't race the second one. I'm like, oh my god. So it just proves that some people take this a little more. I told him, I said, I must take this a little more serious than you, because I ain't leaving to go to no dinner if I'm starting on the outside pole in the second race. I'm gonna be late to that dinner. But he went there to race. It's not a points day. It was just a fun day of racing. He went there to have fun. He practiced, ran a heat race, got one feature in.
Did he drive it on the trailer at the end of the race?
He got it on the trailer, and he went down to his shore house with his family and had dinner. Good. I mean,
good.
That was his plan for the day. So good for him.
Yeah, he ended up finishing 7th in the first feature, which was won by Shannon Monjo, followed by Mike Montano, Kenny Green, Elliott Wall, and Rob Haberstick. In whose car was he in?
Bob, Mikey Montano's got 2 cars. The first, they were a little confusing, but the first race, Mikey Montano drove the old car that he won the championship with, and Bob Haberstick drove the new car. The second race, they switched cars. Bob Haberstick drove the old car. Mikey drove the new car.
Oh, I can't keep track of it all. Yeah. Okay, well.
There again, it was one of those days of racing where it's pretty much just for fun and no points involved. So people were switching rides and doing stuff like that. The Collinses did it too. I think Teresa Collins drove her car in the first race, and then her brother drove it in the second race. So there was a lot of that going around. And that's, it's the fun time of the year to do stuff like that.
Yeah, I missed the Enduros too. Yeah. It was, no points, just go out there, and you got a lot of seat time.
Right.
And it was just fun. So then
Nancy had a top 10 too in the first race, and there was 22 cars in that, and she finished 10th.
Yeah.
So that was a good run for her.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she beat me.
Yeah. Well, it's got to happen once in a while, right?
Yeah.
Limited late model feature, 25 laps. Shannon Monjo won that, followed by Joe Monjo, Mike Tollett, and Greg Miranda.
Oh, so you're not even going to give us the top 5 in that race? You're just going to give us the top 4?
That's all I have.
That's because that's all that was there.
It's a shame.
It is a shame. It's a crying shame.
They're
If anybody has a late model out there, dust that damn thing off and get it to the racetrack. It's a great division. She's giving you a place to race. Come race it, man. There's so many late models sitting around, and no one showed up to race this race. They had 4 cars there. I mean, there's no excuse for it. If you have a late model, you should be there supporting that division.
Yeah.
Mike's Performance sponsors that division. Does a great job sponsoring. Come out and race your car, man.
Yeah. I'm partial to the factories. I'm sure you are as well. But the late models are a lot of fun. And Neil Rutt's driven them. Yeah, they're going to cost a little more. It happens in racing. But, I mean, you look at how many, sportsmen you get out there. Why don't a few guys might as well just hop down to the late models and get some top 10s. Just race. Just get out there. Anyway, 4 cylinders. They had 2 features. The first feature won by I want to say our very own, but he disappeared off the face of the earth, Neil Rutt III. Second, Brian Osborne. Third, Christian LaCicero. Fourth, Randy Hart. Good to see him back and doing well. And fifth, Christopher Silvestri. yeah. Neil just ran off on us, but let's see what else. Second feature. Looks like they lost a couple cars after that first one there. Jeff Loesch won. Neil Rutt the third in second. Um, Sutphin in third. Fourth, Brian Osborne. And fifth, Christian LaCicero again. Um, yeah, they had 12 cars for the second race and 15 for the first. And then the race nobody cares about because all it is a big yellow flag. Kyle Sisko won the sportsman feature, followed by Kevin Davison, Andrew Kraus, Shannon Monjo, and Jonathan Laurie. So there you have it. Overall, I mean, well, factory stocks were, obviously the highlight of the show.
Like always.
Yeah, there's no getting around it. And even if anybody were to disagree, I'll just tell them they're wrong because they're just fun.
You know what it is too? Wall Stadium's a perfect racetrack for that division. You know, it's just perfectly sized, perfectly shaped for that style race car with that horsepower, weight ratio, handling characteristics. It's not a great modified track. It's really not. I mean, the modifieds do put on some good racing, but it just suits the slower divisions better, that racetrack. The four cylinders and the factory stocks put on a great show there. It's a perfectly sized track for that division. Because people ask me all the time, why is the factory stock so good? I just tell them it's a perfect size racetrack for them, and it's just a perfect fit for that style race car.
It is, and I do think that the drivers knowing one another has been a factor in that as well.
We've been getting a lot of cars there towards in the middle of the season. Like, it wasn't really fun going there. A lot of people arguing with each other and fighting with each other. But the last few races, it felt like that fun group again. Everybody getting along, loan reports. Like, I loaned Ron Booth a left front spindle. By the way, Ron Booth, you owe me a left front spindle. Richie Burns broke a rocker arm or rocker stud. I helped him change it. You're getting back to that, let's help each other atmosphere again, which is always makes it fun.
That's one thing I always admired about it. I mean, like I said, I've mentioned Tim helped me a number of times and even loaned me a ride a few times, which I mean, I don't think I'm deserving of it by any means, but it's much appreciated. Scott, you've given me some of your older tires, because it wasn't in my budget, and that kept me going for a while. I mean, I think we mentioned, I think it was Matt Bedessa. He had a bent spindle or something, and I had a spare, whatever rusty one sitting in the trailer, so. Here, take it. He broke a hub. I think I was like, here, just take this, get it on the trailer, whatever. He's like, I'll get it right back to you. I was like, dude, just worry about fixing your thing first, and when you get a chance. And he was so gracious and trying to get it back to me right away. I'm like, there's no pressure, man. And I like that. Everybody would help everybody. And it was just this, and I felt better. On the track, because that's Scott right there. It's not evil competitor racer guy. It's that's my friend there, and I'm gonna try to beat him, but you don't get angry at him,
right?
I think and I think we've unfortunately we've seen people get angry with each other, and it happens, but I don't know. I love that division, and it would take a lot to change that. So I miss that. I want to do our little go-kart thing again. I had so much fun doing that, and it was another event where we could just go out and goof off because pressure.
The only complaint I have about the factory stocks, I wish we could get more laps. I wish there was some kind of formula where if we had over 20 cars, they give us 35 laps. If we have 20 cars or less, then we have 25 laps. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because with the handicap system, I'm starting 16th sometimes, and it doesn't give you enough time to get up there.
Yeah. I could see that if you had enough cars and
really, if I ran that racetrack when it's Riggleman Raceway, I would do that for all the divisions. If you got 20 or less, you're 25 laps. You got 20 or more, we give you 5 or 10 more laps. You know what I'm saying? You earned it. More cars,
Yeah, give them more time, and as long as it's stipulated beforehand, so nobody can complain. that
Right,
like,
right.
hey, yeah, I only have enough fuel, or I don't know, just
Right, right. Yeah, that's the rule. Yeah, if I ran the factory stock division, that'd be the rule. 20 or more cars, 35 laps. 20 or less, 25 laps. It's that simple, you know.
okay.
And I'd start them all. They have 30 cars there. I'm starting them all. I think you said one time you raced there was 36 cars, right?
36 cars for Turkey Derby.
Yeah, start them all. Let's race.
What I mean, it was total chaos, and it was so much fun.
I
And
know it.
I
Yeah, my father used to say this all the time too, and he told Nancy when she first started racing, "You're always going to race with somebody. You might not be the fastest car out there, you might not be the slowest car, but you're going to find a group of guys that run about your same speed and have the same equipment you have, and that's who you race with. You know what I'm saying? If you beat that 4 or 5 guys, you had a good night. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Yeah.
another way of looking at racing. When there's 36 cars out there, and you're starting 30th, guess what? You don't have much of a shot at winning, but you have a shot of beating the 5 guys that you're racing with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I that's what I live for. I mean, one thing Tim always said was like, every time he goes out, he always thinks that he has a chance of winning. I can't get that mindset for myself because I just like in my car, I'm not good enough to be up there with my equipment and all that. But I've got plenty of people that I can have a good race with and fight back and forth and swap positions, and I have a good time. I really do. And honestly, the worst part for me is when I have to move over to let the leaders lap me so I can get back to the battle I was having.
Right, right.
So, I don't know. It's fun. As long as we're having a good time, I'm going to keep coming back, right?
Best advice I can give people racing: set your own goals. Like Nancy's goal is to finish on the lead lap and try to get a top 10. That's a win for her. And she was thrilled. She got that top 10. She was finished on the lead lap. She beat me, man. It was like she won the Daytona 500.
But yeah, I remember the first time I broke 17 seconds.
Right there, you go. Race the clock. You know what I'm saying? Nancy does it all the time. She wants to get 16.5, 16.4s. That's her goal every time she goes to the track. She does a 16.7 in a heat race. She's mad at herself. That you just did a perfect, Josh. Race the clock. Get better. Race yourself.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure. And the other thing is find a car that's better than you and see what their line is. See what they're doing. Right. What's making them faster.
Now this is another thing. Me and Nancy battle with. I won't let her start on the pole yet. How far were you into your racing when you started starting on the pole, or did you do it right away?
I think I did it pretty early, and
yeah.
But you know me, I held my line, but I tried to stay out of the way.
Right,
Because
right.
I knew I was going to get past. I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to probably cause a bit of a problem for some people, but I'm not going to come up and try to block everybody and hang on to it.
I almost let her start because she was doing good lap times in practice and she was running real well and she had new tires on the car. And she was starting on the pole in her heat race and she's like, I'm going to start there. I'm like, all right. And then Alan came back. They're like, you want her to start there? What do you want to do? And Nancy just looked at me. She's like, you make the call. And I'm like, how many cars are here? He's like, 22. I'm like, everybody qualifies, right? He's like, yeah. And then I'm like, well, what's the sense of starting on the pole in the heat race if everybody qualifies? I'm not going to let you start in the pole in the feature, what I'm saying? So I scratched her and she wasn't very happy about it, but whatever.
You're being conservative. That's all. And why risk tearing up the equipment on a heat race when you're going to be racing the feature anyway? I see your point. Yeah, I don't know. I think she knows, where she has to be and what she has to do. So I don't know. I last Turkey Derby racing with her, she wasn't trying to hold anybody up. She was working and doing her thing. She was getting. I saw improvement, and it was awesome. But at the same time, she wasn't trying to get cocky and cause problems. So, and that was kind of the same thing I did for a while. Like, all right, I want to be out here. I think I have a right to be out here, but I don't want to destroy the leaders when they come by. And then, it's like, all right, here they come. I'm going to be out of the way, and off they go. So, yeah, I'm going to say that probably wraps us up for the day. With that, Scott, any last tracks you need to look up?
Why don't you just shoot out one more? Just pick one off the top of your head, and I'll look it up.
Shangri-La.
Shangri-La, that's New York. That's a good one because that's changed hands a few times and closed down and reopened. New York. Man, there's so many racetracks in this book, man.
That means it's going to take a while, folks.
No, I'm in New York already. I just got to get to the S's.
Where the hell did this bolt come from?
Do you go to yard sales at all, Josh? Do you ever stop at yard sales?
Not often. Why?
That's where
find
this
more
book
books?
was found at a yard sale. Just wondering if you're a yard sale guy. I thought you would be.
No. I need to
Oh,
have a
man, they
yard
threw
sale.
me for a loop. Shangri-La Speedway, see Tioga Motorsports Park. Now I gotta look for. Now I gotta go to T.
What about Shangri-La 2?
Well, let's. Well, now this book's too old. This was in 2003.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. All right, Tioga Motorsports Park. Owego, not Oswego. Owego without the S.
Oh.
The property used to be a golf course, a half-mile paved oval from 46 to 56. Then it opened again to 62 to present, which is 2003, because you remember this book was in 2003. It was also a quarter-mile paved oval from 1951 to 1951. So it didn't last long. They had a quarter-mile track in the middle, and so obviously they put the big track around it. Shangri-La Speedway ran a NASCAR Grand National race on 7/4/1952. Grandstands once burned down. The grandstands once burned down to the ground. Paved drag strip 2002 used the front straightaway. I always thought that's a cool idea too. I think we talked about that too. You make your front straightaway a drag strip so you can also have drag racing, and that's all they have on it.
Okay.
Tioga Motorsports Park, as it looked, they actually have a picture of it. Looked in 1970s.
Look at that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. Okay. What have we learned?
Yes. We'll start with you.
We learned that Eric Brennan broke my heart again. Promises that came through. We learned that Sam Ballard, once he got a girlfriend, he's going down the same road as Eric Brennan. He might be engaged by the end of the semester. Now, Sam still talks to us in our private messages. He still does the thumbnail for us, and he updated the show doc for us and everything. He's been working behind the scenes. My brother's been missing the last couple of weeks, but we hope to have him back soon.
Yep.
I learned that the history of America's Speedway, past and present, is going to be a great interruption in our shows from now on.
I do enjoy it.
Yeah, I do like the show and tell segment. We'll try to keep the show and tell segment going. That'll be pretty fun if you have anything laying around and want to show and tell about it. It doesn't have to be racing. It can be food related, whatever. I learned that we never go an hour, even when we have nothing to talk about. We still go 2 hours. What do you learned, Josh?
I learned that size matters. I also learned that Scott hates the people named Eric or anything like that. I learned that Scott took down the wall, and I learned that Ron Booth owes Scott a spindle.
A left front spindle.
Left
and I told
front
him
spindle.
That one was cleaned and painted, and I told him I wanted that one back and not another one because these people try to slide a bent one over to you. So I said I want that one back. And I still have not heard. So what's today? Tuesday. I still have not heard nothing about my spindle.
And I think was it 11 o'clock tonight? We'll have some lottery numbers.
Yeah, I don't check tomorrow. You know what I do with my ticket? I buy my ticket at the Quick Check. They got that one that it's a machine. You put your $20 in, you just hit the button, and it comes out.
Okay.
And yeah, a lot of places you gotta be careful when you go to them because a lot of places just have the scratch offs in there. The Quick Check by my house, you can get the Mega Million or the Powerball and everything. And it's got a scanner right there. You don't have to read the number. Beep. You just scan it. Yeah. So tomorrow, I'll go to bed tonight or wherever. I'll wake up tomorrow when I stop there, fuel up, and get a cup of coffee or wherever. I'll just go in and scan it and see if I want it.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, did I tell you though when it was 560 million, I had 3 numbers, 3 out of the 6. I had 2 of the 5, and I had the Powerball.
I think was it the?
It was a whopping $10.
This is the Mega Millions going. The Powerball was up there, and I had a ticket, and I literally had no, I had two tickets, and I had one number out of everything that was picked.
I had three numbers, and in the same line and everything. I had
Wow.
three of the six. So I thought it was going to be a couple $100. It was $10. So
Hey, it's a
of
couple
course
more lottery
I did
tickets.
whatever every American would do. I just bought 10 more tickets.
That sounds about right. All right. Well, I had
So
some
the other
fun.
day,
Uh-oh.
I'm married. I buy $20 in lottery tickets. Nancy buys two, right? And she says, "Well, if I win or you win, we're splitting it, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're splitting it. I guess 80-20, because I bought 80% more tickets than you bought, right? That's only fair." And she got mad at that statement. I said, "If you want to split things even, then you got to buy $20 in tickets."
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Although, honestly, my first thing would be pay off the house and then uh, get my parents a
Knock it
new
down.
roof. Yeah. Um, and
I
then,
always kick the idea around. I wonder what I would do if I won that much money. I almost say I wouldn't change much. I think I would just race more. I think I would just stay in the same divisions I do. I think I'd just travel the country doing enduro races and stuff.
my race car would be fixed, my house would be paid off, and my parents would have a new roof, and maybe the barn would get started or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to switch houses. I don't want to have a mansion. I'm good with this.
The only reason I would switch houses is so I would have property to store my parts cars and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But then if you have that type of money, I'd be like, well, why don't I try to do like a truck series or something like that? And I don't know. Who knows? You never know until it happens. But I would be happy just not having to worry, wake up every morning and go and drive in my tow truck, and I can just work on my race cars and race more. I literally just search where they're having enduros and go do them, and pure stock races and factory stock races and stuff like that. This way Nancy can still race too. We go race
yeah,
together. I built two cars to go all over the place. If I went to like truck or Xfinity or Cup or something like that, she wouldn't be able to race.
you'd have a better tow rig, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd have at least a crew cab by then. But then again, would I want a fancy tow rig to go do enduros? People are like, oh, look at this asshole with a big fancy tow rig, and he's bringing an enduro car. I'd probably just buy a new truck so I don't break down, and
Yeah,
I'd have an open trailer. But something like Paul Hartwick has is something that you can put two cars on. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah.
I don't think I'd go to a Stacker or a Toter Home or nothing like that. No,
No,
you
no,
look
no.
like an idiot going to Grandview to run a enduro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm just saying, make it a little more comfortable for yourself. Like
Yeah.
when you get there, you can camp or something like that.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens. So,
Would you still tent camp, or would you finally buy yourself a better camper?
I was still tent camp.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that.
Bryce really wants a camper or an RV.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we would rent one for a week or something for him to do that. But I still want a tent camp.
Yeah, but you know what happened? You would rent one for a week, and then you just go buy one. You'd pull back and be like, "Hey, man, we enjoyed this camper. We're just buying it. Here you go."
Yeah, but the thing is, like,
It's over $1 billion. You ain't tent camping. You got $1 billion.
Yeah, well, here's why. Hang on, here's why. Because like my favorite place to camp, you can't RV camp there. Like you
Right.
have to hike or paddle to it.
Yeah,
So
but you know what? You take an RV to Fort Wilderness at Disney. You want to care about that little camping spot you have anymore. You'd be camping in Fort Wilderness. You'd be.
no.
Trust me, your life would change without you even knowing it. It's just. Like I can sit here and say, "Oh, I'm just going to race enduros," but like I said, the worst part about me going to that race at Dover on Friday is not being able to compete. Now I could go there on a Friday and be like, "Oh, I can do this." Yeah. Hey, Bruce Cook set me up with a car. You know what I'm saying? Like, next thing, and then I go out and do good in that. Now I want to do Xfinity. I go out and finish the top 10 for Xfinity. Now I'm like, I want to do a cup race because now you got the money to do it.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. I just for me getting away from the like I would buy my wife that cabin in the woods away from people. That would be the that would be the other thing. Like, I mean, you're talking about the Fort Wilderness and everything, but I think that's still the people are way too close together. Sorry, the cat's meowing to get in. But yeah, I would do something to get away from people, and then I would just oh cool, I'm gonna go to the racetrack. I don't know.
Now, another thing me and Nancy talk about too, if we win the lottery, do you make it public or you just keep it quiet?
They're gonna find out sooner or later.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna find out when I pull up in a brand new Duel, 2-car trailer and two brand new race cars, right?
And we have a backup Martino motor.
And we'd have a better studio for the RPM podcast, you know.
Honestly, I was thinking like I could like rent like a plaza. Like when you go to like a strip mall and you rent
Yeah.
one of the spaces, and then I could turn it into a much larger, proper studio instead of worrying if I have enough room behind me for the washer. So, but at the same time, when I'm done, after I edit it and all that stuff, I can just go right up to bed as a.
Or you would pay someone to edit it. Now you're just the talent of the show. You're not the editor.
I don't know if I can give up the control. So
All right.
I still need to edit so I can make Eric Brennan sound even worse than he actually is.
So how are we gonna sound off? We can't say go to Wall because Wall's not open this weekend.
Stay
I'm supposed to race
tuned.
Bridgeport. If there's anybody still listening to the show, then we're 3 hours in. I am supposed to race Bridgeport Saturday night with Nancy, with 2 cars, without one in the Mega Millions. But it's like 90% chance of rain, so we're gonna see if that's gonna happen or not.
Well, I'm going to say enjoy your downtime. Watch some racing on TV. Spend some time with your family. Hell, go camping. Do fall stuff, and then go to Wall for Turkey Derby. But we're going to be previewing that as things come up and all that. We're still going to be busy. Like you said, we can have almost nothing to talk about, and we're still going to sit here and talk for several hours.
I got this book, history of anyway. There's probably over 3,000 racetracks in here I can read. We can start reading this book. We can make it like Oprah's book club. We can read the book.
I'll have to do a time lapse video of you going through the book.
Let's see how many pages. It's 852 pages. So there's some racetracks in here.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to say that's going to wrap it up for this evening. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe, like our Facebook page. Share this. Please share it with your friends. Lock them in a car and make them listen to it. As they get to know us and hate us more, they'll listen more. I think. I hope. We're working on some
everybody.
stuff. Good night. Go to Wall.
Good night. Go to Wall someday.